Well, hello. It's another wisdom walk, and today you can see I have my mittens and my jacket on. It's winter. It has arrived. This is our first official snowfall here in beautiful Alberta. So, today the conversation is all about giving and receiving. How perfect, just in time for Christmas, just in time for the holidays. Let's dive in. So giving and receiving. Let's chat about this. It's not a new topic for us. Some of you might have heard me chat about this whole concept of giving and receiving before. And so I just feel like this is a perfect time of year to talk about how we can give more without losing out. You know, I think about times when I felt like I had poured and poured and given and given. You know, you might have even felt this way yourself too, where you felt like, oh my gosh, I just gave this person so much and they gave me nothing back, and we're angry about it. But, you know, it reminds me of Mel Robbins and her book, Let Them, her theory of let them. You know, if somebody is going to take advantage of you or not even receive what it is that you're trying to do for the person, let them. It's so much easier to come at it from a let them perspective versus the perspective of feeling frustrated and feeling resentful. What good is the giving if if we're angry about someone's inability to receive it, or we're angry about how much we've given, right? And maybe not gotten anything back in return. Right? So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to do some reflection of, hey, maybe I'm giving from the wrong place. And what I mean by this is that sometimes we give from the ego, where we have an expectation or attachment to something in return, right? Sometimes when we're giving from that space, we feel resentful, frustrated, because either the person is taking advantage or the person is not receiving what we feel they should be receiving from us, right? So when we're giving from the place of spirit, of Holy Spirit, of Source, of Divine within us, that's the juicy giving. That's the giving where we can never run out of our capacity or our energy to give. Yeah? So this is such a powerful piece for us. We give from the ego, we give from divine. This is so powerful because when we are tuned into divine, there's infinite flow of energy, and actually it gives us energy when we're giving from that space. So if you're feeling depleted, if you're in a situation where you're like pouring love into somebody, or you're giving your time to somebody and you're feeling so exhausted and you're feeling, you know, like they're not getting it or whatever, that's a good sign that says, I might be giving from a space of ego, from a space of people pleasing, from a space of things needing to look a certain way. And so it's this beautiful opportunity. That's a check for us. That's a wonderful opportunity for us to say, hey, wait a second. Maybe I'm not giving from my divine self. And if I'm not giving from my divine self, I can't receive all the benefit from the giving. Because you know what? When we're giving from divine, not only do we feel really good in our spirit, and sometimes we can feel good giving from the ego too, don't get me wrong, because it validates us and it reassures us and it gives us some sense of pride, I guess. But when we're giving from divine, it feels so refreshing, invigorating, it feels good. So those are some differentiating factors for you to decide, okay, am I giving from a space of divine, or am I giving from a space of ego? And of course, that ego part of ourselves is our logical self, and we need it to keep us safe. But that ego self also as we know, can get in the way. So the other piece of this is that we cannot give fully if we're not willing to receive fully. We cannot give fully if we're not willing to receive fully. And here's what I mean by this. And I have spoken about this before, but it bears repeating, okay? The idea of being in service to another does not mean that we give without getting anything back, because when we are in service, we are coming from divine in the giving, and we know we get something back because it feels good, it fills our spirit, it fills our soul, yeah? And so when we give from that space of divinity, knowing we get something back, that is true service. And being in true service allows us to also receive the benefit and the value, right, of that giving. Most of us are blocked on the receiving. And so it's an opportunity for us to lean into opening our arms and practicing the beautiful art of receiving, which we've talked about in some other episodes as well. I receive all the abundance that the sharing gives for me. I receive all the value that me giving provides me with. So when we open our arms to receiving, when we stop blocking ourselves on receiving, that is the magic. That is the magic. And in doing so, we allow ourselves to move effortlessly and beautifully through this world. So, in adding to this aspect of I receive, one of the invitations is to say I receive more often as you move through the day. I receive the glorious snowfall that is abundant around me today. When I hug people, I say either in my mind and sometimes out loud, I receive. And so it's this beautiful flow of energy in this aspect of receiving. And when we can really tune into the art of receiving, we open ourselves up to all that is available to us. Yes? Hello. And so as we start to practice this art of receiving, many people find that they have blocks around receiving. And I just want to share with you that a lot of us have ancestral wounds. We have wounds from this lifetime that tell us that we cannot receive, that tell us on some level that maybe we are not worthy of receiving. And so this is something that I really encourage people to work on clearing or acknowledging within themselves. And it's one of the big pieces of work for us to do here in this life, is to allow ourselves to come into a deeper aspect of opening and receiving. All of life has been given to us. Anything that you want is here and available to you. If you're willing to tune into the frequency of it, if you're willing to receive it, it is here for us. God, divine, wants us to be in abundance. And we are in abundance, but most of the time we're not witnessing it, or we're blocking ourselves on the receiving of it. And yet, this is what we're meant to do, is to receive all of this goodness and all of the wonderful gifts that have been given to us. And yet so many of us are inundated with the heavy stuff of life, the challenges, the not so good stuff. And that has clouded our vision of the abundance and clouded our ability to receive as well. So getting to the root of receiving, I want to just share a couple things around this. And so for a lot of people, the blocks on receiving, particularly for women, is actually a father wound or a masculine wound. So that's a really good place to start looking. Men, oftentimes it can actually be the mother wound around this aspect of receiving love, receiving support, receiving comfort, that sort of thing. So that's a really great place to start looking. That's a really wonderful place to start tuning into in your discovery process. Now some people will say, okay, that's great, I know where it's coming from, but like, how do I get rid of it? And oftentimes it's deep in the subconscious. And so one of the statements that I have, and I want to share it with you, is a clearing statement. And this clearing statement is expressed as such. I say, I clear this belief or this subconscious imprinting across all space and time, across all lifetimes, including this lifetime, and across all dimensions and densities. So this is the statement that I say. I take in a few breaths, and then I say, it is so, it is so, it is so. Pretty quick, pretty easy, and you can give it a try. Because what it's going to do is it's going to start that process of removing that energy, that subconscious imprinting, so that you can be open to more receiving in your life. So folks, that pretty much sums it up for today. I am wishing you so much receiving and so much giving in your world so that you can revel in the magnificence and the abundance around us. And hey, if you want to receive the gift of the 7 days of creation, starts January 1st, please sign up and join me. It's 7 days of immense wonder and delight, and I hope to see you there. Have happy holidays, everyone. Lots of blessings to all of you, and we'll see you in the new year. Bye. Me again. Something came up as I was finishing my walk here, so I want to share it with all of you. And it is this: the quality of your generosity does not get diminished by the other's inability to receive it. What I mean by this is that when we give love, when we give gestures of goodwill, when we offer support, and somebody declines, it does not diminish the goodwill or the energy behind that which you are offering. And so the point of me sharing this is because sometimes I think we hold back in fear that we'll be rejected or we'll be turned down. But that's again the ego coming in to stop us and protect us. The reality is that that extension to give our love or to give our time or to give whatever resources, you think of it when you think about God and what God's given us, what Creator's given us. And I just think, God just gives us freely. God doesn't worry about getting rejected. God just gives us the resources, the experiences, and the opportunities infinitely, and never gives up on us. And so this might be the invitation for some of you to say, okay, where have I held back on giving? Where have I created conditions around what I'm giving to the world? And if you've been creating some conditions of your generosity, that's also an indication of the ego coming in. So I feel like that's an important thing to just bring to our awareness and to our growth as we continue on this beautiful path.